scriptures we're looking at is, and Angie really sort of nailed it. She goes, it's really harder to think of the strengths when it's so easy to immediately point out your spouse's negatives. And trust me, I can tell you all its weaknesses. And that was actually really funny. My dad was in seminary when I was in middle school and middle school and early high school. And my dad came home one day with an assignment, you know. And he goes, I'm supposed to determine what are my weaknesses. And my mom and my dad sat down and they thought for a while and they couldn't come up with one. You know, and so I'm coming to dinner and they're like, you know, and my mom, literally, I come in and they've made dinner and they're sitting down. And I remember hearing my mom says, John, I just can't think of one weakness of yours. You are just the most perfect husband on earth. I said, what's up? He goes, Sky, maybe you can help me. Can you think of any of my weaknesses? I'm like, no problem, Dad, I got you covered. I said, I'll give you my list, ready? And I went on, and sure enough, he goes, oh, this is helpful, because now I have something to actually turn in, you know? But it's so easy to go there. And what I have learned is, you know, even though this verse is contextually different, keep your mind on things that are above. Keep them on the pure, keep them on the positive.
Can you tell making lists is one of her?
All right, so because of those things, when I would get hurt, or I'd feel like he's so busy at work, he's so busy doing his own thing, or he didn't want to listen, or he didn't want to communicate with me, those things that had sort of shut me down with communication, I started doing something that I thought I would bring in this trick that I tried. Some of those hurts tend to pile. When they pile up, all of a sudden, you know, that's when you want resentment. You don't want that in your marriage, because then how can I be a good companion if we're having difficulty? So one day, it was about 2 weeks, the kids were little, so I was already exhausted as it was, but the kids were small, and I was starting to actually think, you know, this marriage thing isn't as happy as I really wanted it to be. And I'm going, I woke up, I told myself, I don't feel like I like you right now. And he was like, do you need chocolate or a date? And I'm like, I don't know. He goes, maybe both. And so what I did, I said, during devotions, though, I was proactive, and I now keep a journal. And every time I actually start to feel a little annoyed at him, like more than, you know, in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I might go get that journal, and I start writing the things that I love about my husband. I write the things, and it's hard. It's hard when you're annoyed. It's hard when you're not feeling it. It's hard when you're waking up and you're so exhausted that there's actually nothing left for you to give. And I look at him going, I really don't like you, and I don't think I love you. And he goes, okay, are you all right? I'm like, I don't think so. And he goes, can I help you? I'm like, I don't think so. We can do that either. And he's like, would you like a foot massage? And I'm like, no, let me just go spend some time with the Lord, because the Lord is going to give me that heart for my husband so I can be his companion. And I would write down those things. You know what? I really love that when we were dating, you did this. Or when the kids were little, I remember this amazing thing. And I would have now this journal of memories. Now, I'm not a journal writer. Susan, you're awesome that you journal these things. You probably have millions of things to look back on and going, look at all the blessings. I'm not that person. I journal when I'm annoyed, angry, frustrated, and that's when I journal. And when I was a kid, I would journal about all the negative. Well, that's destructive. So when I got married, I said, I'm going to only journal about the positive. And when I really don't feel happy, I'm going to find, I am thankful, I am grateful, I'm in love with you because, and all of a sudden I'd be praying to the Lord and saying, thank you for this day, because I remember on this day he did, and I'm writing it down. And all of a sudden, I'm noticing about 3 days later, I'm like, I can't wait for him to come home. I am so excited. I'm going, oh, keep my mind on the things that are above.
And by all means, carry through the date and chocolate.
Yes, daily chocolate helps a lot. We're almost finished. One last thing. For those of you that are introverted, because this was one of those things that we had to learn to accept and work through as we were getting married, because extreme introvert hermit, I like that, effervescent extrovert. Okay? What is introversion? Introverted people live in a human-sized hamster ball. Not really, but you know what we mean. The major trait of a true introvert, as opposed to someone who is withdrawn, is how they gain their energy. So we're not talking about someone who's withdrawn. Introvert versus extrovert is how you get your energy. Right?
It's not about how well you public speak or how well you interact with people or get to know people. How well you become friends with them.
So if you actually know pop stars, many of the big pop stars, many of your main speakers are all introverts. Not all of them, but a good number of them are introverts. You're going, wait a minute, you speak to 80,000 people, or you perform in front of 100,000 people. Like, yes, but how we get our energy is a totally different thing. Extroverted people gather their energy from their surroundings. They absorb the good vibes of the people around them, and thus need a lot of social interaction. So I'm actually calm at home, which is really funny because I'm never calm in public, especially if I'm teaching. I walk into a classroom with 32 kids, and I am on for 8 hours. And as soon as I get home, It's like, don't talk to me, I'm fine, all right? And I'm done now. And I go to sleep, and I'm like, all right, there's not enough people here, and I just absolutely stop. And we will have times where he's like, can we just have it alone and not have your family? Anyone who knows my family, we take like half the church. But there's a whole bunch of them, all the in-laws and any birthday. And for a while, I'll be like, but we're not doing anything, and we need to have family over. And he's like, well, who's coming tonight for dinner? I'm like, the family? How many of them? I'm like, well, just a few. Are we talking 10 or all 25? You know, because I want the people around. I want all the 70 to 72-year-olds all around our feet and keep going. And he's like, okay, there's been people here, there's people here. Introverted people make their own energy, and rather than taking it from others, give it on social contact. This means that they actually find most interaction exhausting, and they need time to recharge. So an extroverted me gets energy from people. Him, usually when he's around people, he loves being with you all. But then he's actually going to go and like hide in a room with a book or Kindle for about 2 hours now after this.
Yeah, I get home till now and be like,
because this energy is a limited resource, they tend to see extroverts as obnoxious predators out to steal their sweet, sweet energy juices. That's why they have the hamster ball of personal space. So as you can tell, in our early marriage, I'm here going, come out, it's time to play. We're married and it's time to be with each other all the time. And he would go, oh my gosh, please stop. You're scaring me. How to interact with the introverted person. Just because someone is introverted doesn't mean they don't like company. Interaction is just expensive, and they don't want to waste or spend it on something annoying or wasteful. So here's what you do. And he showed me this so I would learn how to deal with him. All right, this is honey, this is what you need to do. Because I'd be like ready to go. Oh, we're together. Let's wake up and let's go, go, go. And he's like, please stop and go back to bed. Now, say hello, be polite and relaxed. Show that you recognize and approve of their presence. It is important for introverts to feel welcome. They won't spend their precious energy on someone who doesn't want them around. If you have interesting and important news to mention it. Just don't press for gossip. Then go back to whatever you're doing. This was hard for me. Now, the introverts know that you are friendly and open to interaction, but will not push them into spending energy if they have no need to. So, there was a time that he's saying, honey, we're going to get married and it's going to be wonderful, but I want you to know that I'm going to have to be alone for a little while every day. I'm going, well, that's not going to work for me. I said, we're going to be married, so we're in the same house, same bedroom. Come on, this is our time, this is our honeymoon phase. He goes, no. He goes, I'm an introvert. So I had to learn, as I'm coming home, that I would come home, ready? 32 kids all day, right? So I am on, go. And I would come in, and there would be this switch, and I would sit on the couch, and at first, he would be in another room. And then after a while, it became he would sit next to me. And after a while, it became close. And all of a sudden, we had this beautiful dynamic that now I'm actually part of his bubble, and that's what he needs, is me as his companion.